Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, looking down the runway, I'm gonna push the throttles up. I would announce 100 knots. We're gonna call V1. So my hands would come off the throttles. Go ahead and start pulling back. There you go, don't be afraid of it. There you go. And then there's a positive rate and the gear's coming up.
I'm not a pilot, but I just took off in an Airbus A320. Okay, so it's not an actual plane, but this $20 million simulator is an exact replica of an A320 cockpit, and the technology inside of it makes it even more complex than the plane itself. Here at United Airlines Flight Training Center in Denver, Colorado, there are 31 flight simulators, and at nearly 500,000 square feet, this facility is one of the largest airline training hubs in the world. All of United's 12,000 pilots come through here for initial training and return every 9 months to stay up to date on flight procedures and safety protocols. Captain Mike McCaskey has been a United pilot for 28 years and showed us what it's like to fly a commercial plane. Tell me a little about what we're looking at here.
All right, so before we get started, we're in an Airbus A320 simulator. We use our training devices to train our pilots from day 1 to day 30, which is how long it takes us to get them through school. So we can simulate in this particular device anything that we want the crews to experience in the operation.
He gave us a detailed description of all the instruments, most of which are only used in case of an emergency. For me, the takeoff wasn't that tough. I used the plane's joystick to climb us to 10,000 feet, but Captain Mike was actually handling the more complex things like monitoring our speed and flight path. So at what point do you switch into autopilot?
Anytime you want. Once we get climbing away from the ground, there's a minimum autopilot engagement altitude that we will use. But, you know, we like to fly, so we'll fly.
So typically autopilot isn't used for takeoff?
No, not for takeoff. Sometimes we'll use it for landing if the weather is required.
How much of the time is the plane in autopilot?
The majority of the time.
Like what would be a situation where you wouldn't want to use it?
Like approach and landing, sometimes you don't want to use it, or if air traffic control is giving you a lot of turns to get into a line for traffic for landings. The autopilot tends to be slow sometimes because it's very customer focused and oriented towards the smoothest ride.
So tell me a little bit about what you're doing in flight.
We're listening to the radio. We're monitoring air traffic control communications. So we'll monitor that, look out the window, obviously make sure we're not flying into storms and those types of things, looking for smooth rides if they're not out there. Once an hour, we'll go through all of the systems pages to make sure everything's performing like it's supposed to.
After taking off in good weather, we then got to experience how pilots handle flying through a thunderstorm.
This is what it looks like on the airplane. We would not fly through the red. We don't even like to fly through the green. So we would turn. We would ask air traffic control for a turn to a heading of 150. We can do that on board. Now you're going to start to turn to the left. And here comes the turbulence. Keep turning. That's why sometimes the autopilot does a nicer job. It's a bit smoother, although it's not as fast.
The simulator tests pilots on everything from engine failure to bad storms to bird strikes. United wouldn't show us what it looks like when you crash in the simulator, but the pilots practice these emergency scenarios every 9 months.
The good thing is we're not doing those types of things in the real world all the time, but we want to make sure our crews are ready to deal with anything.
When I tried landing us at SFO, it was clear that I am not a pilot.
Pull back a little bit.
10.
That was my fault. Flying the simulator was a lot harder than I thought it would be, and much more realistic. But the center isn't just for pilots. 1,500 of the airline's 24,000 flight attendants also come through once a year to learn and stay up to date on emergency procedures.
So this is our slide raft that we have here at United Airlines, and this is where every new hire pilot has to go down this once in their careers, as well as flight attendants have to go down this once in their career. And we hope that this is the only time they have to do something like this. Are you ready? All right, my dear. Take one step, and down you go. Sit up, sit up, sit up. Nice job.
United flight attendants also undergo annual trainings on how to deal with medical situations and to evacuate aircrafts.
Release seatbelt, get out, leave everything. The goal that we have at United is there's a 90-second time frame to get an entire plane full of people off of that airplane to still be survivable. Okay, All right, so I'm going to walk you through this.
Okay.
All right, so you're going to do that up. Now you're going to look out, and do you see smoke, fire, debris, or obstruction?
No.
Then go ahead. Big handle does big things. Rotate that handle, let go, and hang on like you did. Come this way, come this way. That would work. In your words, that would work because you're not trained as a flight attendant.
With all of these resources and replicas for pilots, flight attendants, and technicians, United has invested a hefty sum into its training. The campus has over $1.5 billion in assets on the property. United says that these training protocols are standard across the industry.
If everybody is flying at the safest level, then we're all better off for it. We will compete vigorously on product and service, but we won't compete on safety.
After seeing the facility and learning how rigorous the training is, I feel assured that pilots are so well trained that they're ready for anything, no matter what happens.
Intensely.
Aviation.
Instructor.
Notably.
Gliding.
Exemplary.
Coincide with.